test begins.
We knew, he always knew too, that he wanted to play the guitar. And of course, at that time, we didn't ever know where that would take him.
I mean, we've changed. I mean, we present the shows now as like big-time entertainers, whereas back then we really presented the shows as like we were really just part of the audience.
Visually, they were really entertaining. It's just the songs weren't so great. The Batman theme was not a good idea, and they knew it.
When you suffer in other areas, you try to make up for it with show.
So we'd have smoke and lights and mirror balls.
Fire.
Noisy rock band with bad clothes and weird hair.
We're not going to fool each other and, think that we're great. It's like, but if we can fool everybody else, maybe we can sell some records.
Like, see, this is no good. It's like the camera goes on.
Just happy that I put on clean underwear for the day that I was being interviewed.
I think they still have a chaotic thing about them where you don't really know what's going to happen, and there's still a sense that something unexpected might happen.
It's a proactive concert. They involve their audience.
Wayne is just sort of like this childlike, grown-up Pied Piper. Wherever Wayne leads, people will follow.
The leader of the pack is in a balloon, he's surfing over the audience.
They're feeding into your brain these kind of images that are not going to leave.
Man, this is just too weird. Finally, the punks have taken acid. How great is that?
Smoke this and listen to this, and she played me Priest Driven Ambulance at just mind-shearing volume on the headphones. Yeah, I've been a fan ever since.
Bradley's film Take Two, drug documentary Take Two. Maybe you should stop the camera now, okay?
When you figure going from underground or alternative or whatever you want to call it, all the way to Grammy, that's big.
We're going to blow up some balloons, and we are going to sing Happy Birthday, and I'm going to pour some blood on my head, and we are going to sing some songs about death and life and love and what it means to really be alive.
This is our city, a city born in a day 61 years ago, a lusty, dusty frontier town of 10,000 persons, which today has become a metropolis of the Southwest with a population approaching 300,000. Yes, this is our city, the capital of a great state.
Yeah, that's Bradley. He's making this film of me. I'm in a band, and he really likes our band, so he films me walking around my neighborhood and stuff here. It's a band called the Flaming Lips. It's like weird rock and roll, When we were young, I think we took too many drugs, so we like to make weird music. He's been making this film for like 10 years, Every something will happen, he'll make a new film of it, yeah. All right, see you guys, all right.
This is Oklahoma, where I grew up. We're known for oil derricks, college football, and country music. Hardly a mecca of freaky art rock. In the summer of 1986, my older brother took me to the VFW Hall in Norman, Oklahoma to see a punk rock show. The lineup included the Dicks, Meat Joy, and the local warm-up band with long hair and ratty instruments called the Flaming Lips. Honestly, I can't remember anything about the music except it was insanely loud. I think it was about 1991. I was the guy in art school who owned all the junky film cameras. It was during this time I met my neighbor, a weirdo rock star with a vivid imagination and foul smell. Wayne and I have been making music videos and homemade movies together ever since.
Hands in the air, everybody, right?
I became a teenager, you know, in this house and bought my first guitar and started working at Long John Silver's.
The first whole drum set you got for me was for Christmas one year, and you told me those in the back of the van. That's what I was getting for Christmas.
Yeah.
So I went and looked in the back of the van. He caught me, so I got the drums for Christmas. But then I couldn't play them for the first week that I had them because I was grounded.
I wasn't actually quite a geek, though. And I was on the swim team, but I wasn't quite a jock. So a little bit hard to pin me down.
We thought, oh, he was going to be a college professor or a lawyer or something. It did never occur to us that he was going to turn out to be a musician.
My brother Tommy lived in that garage apartment back there. It was the 70s, and Tommy loved to do things like go to jail and take drugs. Between all the brothers and my sister and all their friends and all these sort of drug connections and musicians and all that, you can imagine at any one time there could be 15 people just hanging around the house, listening to records, smoking pot, living what to me is like a utopia.
This is the actual high school that Wayne actually went here. I went here for 2 years, and Mark, Wayne's brother, actually went here. He was the quarterback of the football team, so I didn't really hang out too much.
I'd just put something on the bulletin board, you know, hey, I play guitar, I'm into Led Zeppelin and Frank Zappa and whatever you put on there to try to attract people to play with you. I think it was my younger brother who was in the band for a little while, knew Michael's younger brother at school. I think they were at some high school type party or something, and Michael was there, and I think my brother noticed that he was dressed up as a sort of gothic punk rocker, which he was at the time. In 1983, it probably would have been something like that. And he was, you know, he had the white hair and leather jacket and all that. And I think even back then, that was an odd scene. You just didn't run into many people like that.
I had a weird haircut, and I guess they thought I knew something about music or something to that effect.
No, I met you actually at the practice space.
No. I remember being at your door.
You came to the door?
Yeah, I remember we came and you...
Oh, maybe it was Mark and you.
And so I think my brother went up and asked him,
"Do you play the bass?" And he lied to me and said he did. And we found out that he couldn't, but we liked him anyways.
Later, I found out that they had talked amongst themselves that, well, he's really not very good, and which was true. But they looked at each other and said, well, we're not very good either.
All right, everybody, we're the Flaming Lips, and we come all the way from Oklahoma City to play here tonight, and we're awful glad all you nice folks are here to see us and sing.
We thought of ourselves as being some sort of no-talent derivative of some kind of hillbillies gone punk version of The Who. You know, know, I think we were just of that age where it just sort of seemed like the whole world was just made for us. And the Who came here really just to play for us. And when they played, and it was that glorious time when it just, they sang songs and they were like religious songs, you know, listening to you, I get the music. I went with Tommy on the back of his motorcycle or something like that. If you imagine that, you know, Tommy going to a concert and having tickets. Wow.
We lost my little brothers. We had to wait till after the show to find them. And we did find them. They were down by the stage right away.
Sure, yeah.
I couldn't go home without my little brothers. Mom would kill me.
Young men and young boys could talk about the Who in a way because it wasn't like they weren't glamorous rock gods. They were just hardworking men
insane, rowdy
who were
rock and
touched
roll
by
stuff.
the religiousness of rock and roll, and it was.
There's religiousness in it.
Well, if you see religiousness in it, then it's there.
I guess if you're on the front row and you do enough stuff, yeah, you can see God down there.
Live, I mean, you can definitely draw the parallel to the Who in sort of a garagey, punky fashion. Mark, the lead singer, wasn't quite as, windmills with the microphones. He was much sloppier at it in any case, and he was a little too ominously muscle-bound. Wayne jumped around like a jackass on guitar and did all the rocking out things. Michael was stoic on the bass with a big fro. Then Richard was beating the hell out of every drum in sight.
He would work at Long John's for the cause. And, you know, I'm basically just trying to pay some bills. He's a true artist, where, you know, I'm just a jock that, you know, is having fun. It was better that I got out when I did, and which forced him into other types of music.
Loud Led Zeppelin punk rock.
Stooges-like riff.
Neil Young on some kind of gas.
Even too weird for like the punk rockers.
It wasn't about a show. I don't know what it was about. I mean, at the time, it seemed so much you want to be part of the scene.
Dinosaur Jr. was also another band that was a loud band.
Butthole Surfers, the Dicks,
Black Flag,
Texas Instruments.
Amateur but loud. I think that marks what the Flaming Lips are all about. Good equipment, but no talent.
Well, if you didn't like our songs, you could walk away and say, gosh, they sure were loud, weren't they?
You know, I'm proud of that we were enthusiastic and that we, even though we had no true talent, musical talent anyway, that we sort of did it in the spirit. That wasn't a spirit that we discovered. It was the spirit of what was going on at the time with punk rock and those early hardcore shows that were going on in Norman in 1982 and 1983.
They brought a 500cc, like a Kawasaki or Yamaha racing bike, and had it up on stage. And they had the tailpipe mic'd, and it was some relative of Wayne's was operating it and just revving the hell out of it.
I know after a little while it started to overheat.
It did, yeah.
I had to turn it off or there would have been serious damage.
It smelled like a motocross jam by the time it was all over, and I talked to the guy who was running the bike afterwards, and he was a little hopped up. And he said he was, you know, he was getting all tripped out on the music and the excitement. And he said he was fighting the impulse to pop the clutch and take off through the crowd.
But I don't think any of us anticipated how much the place would fill up with exhaust.
That was the genius of filling the place with smoke. So, if there were 4 people, if there were 1,000, which there probably weren't, no one would know any better.
People for so long now have had this idea that Wayne is some crazed, drug freak from Oklahoma City.
Drug-crazed teens, the Flaming Lips deny it all.
people think that Wayne is one of the bigger acid heads. If you see the, oh my God, it's the Flaming Lips album cover, this melting skull, and he's riding some phallus, and you know, there's things falling out of the sky. There are these 3 trippers, in this field of grass and, peace and love.
I don't do drugs at all, and I don't recommend that anybody should or they should sell them or anything, but I think that there's advantages to taking risks sometimes, and I took that risk, and I made a lot of money real quick, and it was a long time ago. I was 16 years old. I'm 41 now. Certainly some limitations have gone by of prosecution at this point.
Wayne has never given up at all. I mean, he's just always forged ahead when it might not be looking so good. He would go back and work at Long John Silver's and be the head fry cook.
He had to do the Long John Silver's eye patch and the hat and all that stuff. I think he might have had a parrot too. I don't remember if that was part of the costume or not.
God, they worshipped him there. It was really amazing. I'd drop in to visit him, and he decided to take his break right then, and they would all completely acquiesce.
I worked at Long John Silver's. I started there in 1977. I think I worked there for about 11 years. And I must admit, I truly loved working here. So this is the current trip that's going on in this building. And obviously it's in a, well, not obvious, but to everybody around us, this is the Vietnamese part of town. As you see, even across the street, virtually everything around you is Vietnamese. And so this became a noodle bar. All right, so anyway, so you can see, it's no longer Long John Silver's, but at one point I used to cook right over there. Behind this wall over here, I'd be the cook. So Dennis, how about you'll come in and you'll be me. You'll be me cooking. Now when I used to cook, right, we'd have the fish in a big basket and we'd shake it. So when we look over at you, just sort of be holding an invisible basket and be shaking it like that. That's getting the grease off of it, all right? And Vivian, you'll be the cashier, okay? And you'll be doing this, all right? All right? You'll be in charge of the money. So come on. And you'll be on the refrigerator. That'll be the cashier. These guys came in here. And I was just over there cooking away, and these guys had huge guns. I mean, they were super pissed, and they ran through here. And they said, get on the ground, motherfuckers, get on the ground, get on the ground. And I was just like, ugh. And this cashier, she froze. And they ran back here. And the other's like, get back here, get on the ground, motherfuckers. I mean, they had a huge gun. So they rustled us all back here. And they said, get on the ground. And so, Dennis, you'd get on the ground, and you got to lay on your chest like you're scared, you know? Right? Get on the ground. And Vivian, you got to get on the ground. And these guys are pissed. I mean, and it's not funny anymore, because there had been robberies and people had gotten killed. And the safe was over here where that trash can is now. There was a safe in some cement over there. And the poor manager was working. I mean, she couldn't even stand up hardly. She was so shaken. And I just thought, my God, this is really how you die. It's just 1 minute you're just cooking up someone's order of French fries, and the next minute you're laying on the floor and they blow your brains out, and there's no music, there's no significance. It's just random. It could have been anybody.
I got my first drum set when I was about 7. And I started playing on my dad's polka band when I was about 10. And when I was about 12, I started picking up the keyboards. And like from 12 to 14, I was just, every day I would come home from school and just practice the keyboards. 6, 7 hours a day, literally. Even before that, I just always knew that I wanted to be, play drums or whatever in a band.
Everything around Stephen as a child was all about music, so I think it just made him who he is.
To see Stephen playing all the Neil Peart stuff and learning the guitar parts at that age was amazing.
said, what's that noise? And we had an 8x10 sword shed where we practiced. 10 o'clock at night, this music nuts is in there practicing. On a Sunday night, next day was school. So we really love music. Oh, God.
Definitely.
My mind never leaves there. I don't care if I'm laying in bed at 3 o'clock in the morning. It's swimming music notes, you know?
One of the things...
I never made it big time. I want to see Steven make it. That's all.
Most of his youth, he was hopeful that he was going to make the big time. But making the big time as a saxophone player, that's tough.
We made an album in 1967 with 4 horns, 8-piece band. We couldn't make any money, so everybody went their separate ways.
It was mostly like Czech polkas and waltzes. He did that. He grew up playing that. Vernon Drost and the Texas Brass, that was one of his bands. He played in the Gil Baca band. That was like a family dance band that goes back to the 1890s, the tradition.
This is called I'm Gonna Find Me a Woman. We've never played it together before. Matter of fact, I played it for Steven the first time this morning.
When I was
Dad's never played on it.
What gear?
It's in G. And so the chords to it on the verse, G, E minor.
It was really difficult to be with Steven in the get-go because I've never lost anybody in my immediate family, and Steven has lost 3 people in his immediate family to suicides.
Well, I think it's fantastic after...
this is the first time in...
After the kid's mother is deceased and 2 of the children, a son and a daughter, this is what I've got, like the movie, My 3 Sons. Yeah, I think we're closer now we've ever been. Yeah, I know something good's gonna happen here, starting right today.
Okay, and then the turnaround's gonna go. Tender kisses, long romantic walks, E minor. Then
James actually got arrested in February of '92 for grand theft auto. And he went to county, and then he went to trial, and it was like, this is like the hardcore 3 strikes you're out system in Texas. And he'd had 2 felonies before that, drug possession felonies. So he basically got arrested in February, or it might have even been January of '92. Went to jail, and he was locked up until literally about a week before you showed up to do that interview, which was crazy, because that was what, February of 2003, so 11 years he was completely locked up.
If you can fit the drums in it, but I don't want anything to, oh, no, we're not doing the Run DMC thing.
Come on, man.
Okay, you think that'll work?
I think so.
It's truly an honor to be here with my brothers and my dad, to be able to play music with my dad and my brother for years. To be able to come from a home like this, I didn't ever really recognize what Dad was doing growing up because I wasn't into horns, you know. And now that I've got older, at 41 years old, it's remarkable to listen to my dad play. It's truly remarkable to listen to Steven play. I'm gonna find me a woman. It comes natural to both. I'm kind of like the black sheep in the family. I play and write my own music, but I've taken kind of like a side road with narcotics and things like that, and they put me in a bad place. But even the time that I was away, I found solace in music. Kind of painful for me because the Lips came through town with Tool, came through town with the Stone Temple Pilots, and they came through town with Candlebox, and I would hear this on the radio, and I thought, man, when am I going to get to hear my brother's band? When am I going to get to hear them?
This is the neighborhood here where we live and where Wayne grew up. He grew up a few streets over that way.
I am the most suited man, not only in my neighborhood, but probably in all of the city here, to really scare the shit out of those little kids. Which is, you know, I mean, I love Halloween, but I love scaring those little kids because I remember when I was a little kid, how much the being scared, you know, stuck with you, you know, and then you grow up and you realize, oh, I was scared of the Frankenstein monster or the, you know, the giant spider or whatever. And those things really in real life aren't scary, but they're scary when you're a little kid. Because, you know, once you get older, there's things in real life that are horribly scary, and, you know, you can't just run away from them and turn on the light and it goes away. But that sort of thing, being scared when you're a little kid, it can only happen when you're a little kid. So when they come up on my porch and I see that they have suspended their toughness, and a lot of kids are tough these days, you know, Bradley, and they've suspended their toughness because what I'm doing is so interesting. Hey, you guys, you really like school? Yeah. All right, no? School will make you smart though, huh?
You have to stay here. No se vayan para allá. Don't go there.
Okay, all right. Well, I'll talk to you guys in a bit. I don't know, it's for someone's head. See, it's like a crown. Look at that, yeah. All right, I'll see you guys. Bye-bye. We do live in what we think is an interesting, colorful neighborhood. I basically grew up here since I was about 11 or 12. And I had older brothers, and I have a bunch of friends who all sort of did things that would be considered ghetto-esque, even when we didn't live in the ghetto proper. And so now, and when I say ghetto, I don't mean it in a derogatory way. I just mean this is, if you drove through here and came through by accident, you'd be surprised there's people. There's one walking by right now. You could look out. There's one with a big pit bull, and there's probably some people who are gonna buy some crack or some prostitutes who have some business to attend to, whatever. But you know, I mean, I don't really care about any of that. I really don't. I mean, as long as they leave us alone and no one shoots at us, I'm not trying to buy crack for them, and it doesn't really matter to me. All right, we'll see you in a little bit.
Wake the dog up and wake me up.
Yeah, all right. All right, we'll see you then.
You got it.
Tommy is my oldest brother. He had something of a sort of tortured artist thing about him, which I think as he got older, he just sort of left it behind and just became more tortured than an artist.
This is my wheels.
He took up more of, the rebel life that he kind of lives now, where you ride motorcycles and you take drugs. When I was 7 years old, I think I realized that Tommy, my oldest brother, was taking LSD, and I remember being in shock. The drugs that I think what it is crack now. It may be crystal meth, I'm not sure. This is Tommy's house back here, and that's where we're at. Ken's house.
Welcome to the hood.
Ken's house
That's what they call the hood.
Right on the corner. That's Mother's house right up that way. Yeah.
What goes on in the hood? What's the primary activity?
A lot of just living, but you see a lot of criminal activity also in this neighborhood. And at night you hear a lot of the gunshots and hollering and police chases and different things, and it's all just part of being here.
Are you escaped from jail right now?
No, I do not have a warrant. I do not have a warrant at this time.
Okay, they've let you out.
Because I'm in the neighborhood and have been here all my life. I'm involved in some of it to a point.
I'm not involved in any of it. I'm not involved. I'm not involved.
Wayne makes great efforts to stay away from my part of the world.
Yeah.
Wayne went to Hollywood and did concerts. I went to jail. We went our separate ways there.
The Coyne brothers somehow thought it was a good idea to mix drugs and sports. In a 1972, Wayne, Tommy, Marty, Kenny, and Mark formed the Fearless Freaks, more of a violent cult than a backyard football league. The team consisted of musicians, druggies, and dropouts.
But the sunrise in the morning came with Ken. You know, I think starting probably when we were about, gosh, probably 10 or 11 years old, you know, we started to get that real bond. He was the one that sort of instigated, I think, this whole sort of magic of sports kind of thing, where we would box in the front yard and we would sort of get these, you know, the Sandlot football stuff together.
Oh, you know, I remember these old flyers we put up at people's houses.
Oh, wow.
We put a bunch of pictures on.
Oh, I see, right.
Remember me and Mark making those things up?
Oh, wow.
And then we'd make the teams up, and then we'd hang them up at the people's houses like a week ahead of time.
We always knew the value of hype, you know?
Yeah.
Look at this, who wouldn't want to be here? You see,
Keg party.
Tommy lifting like 40 pounds with one arm. You got me playing guitar out there.
And then we'd have the teams, and everybody would be drinking and...
Oh, that's great.
You know, saying who's going to kick whose ass, and then we'd get out there, and it'd be...
Well, right. I mean, that's
then.
half the battle, is sort of what people think is going to happen. But you guys were never into it because of the...
Not as football. We liked it, but it was a semi-civilized gang fight.
It's a wonder more bones weren't broken when you watch them and how hard they hit.
Man, just give me the ball. I'll bust it up the middle. I can do it. And we'd bust it, man.
I think at the time, I never knew what the influence of sort of us just we just woke up one day and it was proclaimed that we were the Fearless Freaks, and no one said it was good, no one said it was bad. There were people who played football and they were considered jocks, and there were people who took drugs and listened to Black Sabbath, and they were considered freaks. Be high while they're playing, and it just
sort of fights and everything.
It just was another thing that you could do that was intense, because you rode motorcycles and you like intense things.
There's blood and gore and guts and fun, and we won.
Yeah. But as you go around and you call yourself something like the Fearless Freaks, you could see where this ties into like someone just waking up and saying, we're going to be in a band, we're called the Flaming Lips.
So they were without a manager, without a record company, living in this duplex next to Scott. Wayne and Michael and Jonathan lived on the other side. This was when they were frequenting the plasma bank.
Yeah, I mean, we lived, as poor as you can be. I mean, it was me and Michael and Jonathan all living in one side of a duplex, and where we had all our equipment there. That's where we would practice.
If they had to starve, they would starve. If they had to be without eating, they'd go without eating. One time, Wayne went a whole week without eating, just to see what it was like. He went a whole week without eating food.
Michael Ivins was so painfully thin, you know, we thought we should go buy sandwiches over at the concession booth and throw them up on stage.
But things really started to get desperate in the late 80s, where even though I worked at Long John Silver's, you know, in and out, there would be times where we'd go out on tour for so long that we wouldn't make any money and come back and you'd just be poor for a couple of weeks till you have another paycheck come in.
There were years where I think he was lucky to make $6,000 to $7,000 a year, probably.
It was better to be on the road, because when you came home, was there enough money for cigarettes? Was there enough money for macaroni and cheese? Were you going to have to skip a couple of days? But when you're on the road, you're always got somewhere to sleep. You got food every day.
At the time, if you made $40 at the end of a
performance. Well, that was enough for gas and smokes. A cup of coffee. That was a good night.
Jesus is at my side, wondering what he will find. Sweet Jesus, watching the water rise.
I remember us sitting back there one day, and they were like, "What are we gonna do?" You know. So they're like, "Well, we'll get Scott to call Warner Brothers and tell them that we want to talk to the person that worked with Jane's Addiction right now, just as a joke."
It just sort of seemed like that was what everybody was trying to do back then, to go from being this sort of weird, a confrontational underground band, and then thinking, well, a major label should sign us so we can sell 1 million records.
Well, Jonathan used to call Warner Brothers.
Well, we did. We would have called them up and for some reason act like we want to speak with someone in Jane's Addiction, as if they're just right there. Like, I mean, if someone called Warner Brothers now, so let me speak to the Flaming Lips, it'd be like, what do you go to a room and you just give them the phone, right?
Here you go, guys.
But it was just our way of getting someone to speak to us, which was why we thought when they called us back and said, hey, we're interested in signing you guys, we assumed it was a joke.
The first time, Jonathan hung up on her.
Right.
Because it was that duplex on 12th Street.
Right, yeah.
And then the second time, she's like, "Now don't hang up. I'm serious. I'm really from Warner Brothers, you know."
Although these prank calls were a complete joke, unbeknownst to the band, they were being considered for a serious recording contract with Warner Brothers. In 1990, an A&R rep from Warner Brothers flew to Oklahoma City to see the Lips perform their fiery Freak Out. She was blown away and the Lips were signed.
I remembered dense fog, fire, and blinding white light. The near-death experience of the Flaming Lips. It was almost verbatim.
There were fireworks, there was fire. Countless times while I was taking pictures, I'd be blasted in the face with a fire extinguisher.
Some stuff landed on my head and my hair caught on fire.
It really did sort of get out of hand, and I think we're all thankful that really no lawsuits or any injuries really ever came of it, other than Michael's hair catching on fire a couple times. I think when we did those last couple of shows where we were sort of cheaply imitating our heroes, the Butthole Surfers, when we were doing the fire and the pyrotechnics, I think some of our fame and respect or whatever you want to call it stemmed from our days of playing with the Butthole Surfers.
How would I describe the Flaming Lips show to someone who had never seen it? Well, I'd first ask them if they'd ever seen a Butthole Surfer show. They stole our song. That's a good one. They imitate us. And I think Wayne wishes he was me.
Thousands of the people that came before me that are descendants of me.
Boy, he's fucked if he's gonna be me. Audio, visual, psychedelic folk rock extravaganza. They never sold out, like the butthole surfers.
Everyone wants to live forever, thinking that it'd be a lot better.
No more than a week after we got back from that video shoot was when we got the call from Warner Brothers saying, our lawyers just called and Jonathan quit. And we're like, really? He just quit.
I was so pissed off. So I wrote him this like 4-page letter about how like you have let everybody down and how horrible of a person you are and you got back on everything. And I saw him at CMJ when Mercury Rev played one time, and I'd never met him in the flesh. And I walked up to him and I'm like, you don't know me, but I'm David Katz Nelson, you know, Warner Brothers Records. You know, I work with the Flaming Lips. And I went into him. You know, you left the band when we needed you, you know, all that kind of stuff.
There were so many good times in a fucked up way.
But Jonathan had a way of, you know, it was sort of like he and Wayne both wanted to be chiefs. Neither one of them wanted to compromise.
I never left with malice. I never looked back and said, oh, I regretted that time. I had the most wonderful time.
How does it feel to be breaking apart, breaking down molecules?
When I first saw him, you know, Michael had his back turned toward the audience, and smoke and strobe lights. You couldn't really see the band, and there was no talking between songs. It was just fucking balls to the wall, sonic assault, psychedelic rock, you know.
Used to be alright, but things got strange.
But it seemed like when I first joined the band, they were all like, hey, we smoke cigarettes, we don't eat food. And, you know, you're in a pre-stripped ambulance, man, you're fucked, you know. Everything's, you know, there's no hope, you know what I mean? Whatever.
We smoke cigarettes, we don't eat.
We smoke cigarettes, we don't eat food, and we stay up and we drive long distances and drink lots of coffee. You know, and there was just this sort of like badass, like, you know, even like a druggy kind of image that I was sort of really attracted to with the band before I knew the guys, you know. And then I got to know him, I was like, well, that's a big sham, you know.
Someone had seen him play with Janice 18, and I don't mean this, I don't mean anything bad by this, but they said, you know, Janice 18 still sucks, but their drummer is amazing.
And he's like, you want to go, you know, set up some drums and play with us? And I was like, sure. So we get to Oklahoma City. We drove from Norman. We all went up together, and they had this beautiful, pristine, a drum dork's wet dream.
He liked Wayne and wanted to be part of things and wanted to work with him. And I think that they have really gotten to where they work really well together.
Is that what that is? My favorite Mercury Rev song, actually. Fine number there. No, it's just...
Being able to physically play an instrument isn't a problem anymore because Steven can play it.
He can play the things that Wayne can't play.
And I think little by little, we just played, you know, off each other's strengths here and there. That even though, you know, certainly me and Michael, we can't play very well, but you know, we have other qualities that we hope, you know, are of some value to the organization. None of us knew how talented Steven was. Steven knew how talented Ronald was. So we could all sort of get together and say, boy, Ronald's a really, you know, amazing, unique, weird guitar player. When Ronald came in, Ronald had this musicalness about him that I don't think me and Michael could ever understand, but Steven could. So Steven could tell us, oh, Ronald, he really, you know. So I think our focus went not away from Steven, but we focused on...
You had the punk rockers, and then you had the musicians all of a sudden turning into this, you know.
Yeah.
You had what could have been Yes meets the Sex Pistols, and it ended up being the Flaming Lips, you know.
A couple hundred years ago, we probably would have been pirates or something. We would have got on some ship and sailed off somewhere and met a bunch of crazy people and did some crazy things.
Michael always used to scare the hell out of me because he was the coolest one, you know? And he looked so strange that you kind of thought if you wandered up and struck up a conversation with Michael Ivins, you'd probably end up, you know, back in his cave, you know? He'd boil your head in oil and eat it.
In 1993, the Lips released Transmissions from the Satellite Heart, with Turn It On as the first single. For the first year, the record was largely ignored.
Put your face up to the window.
Hey, welcome back to Sound Opinions. Thanks for being with us. I'm Bill Wyman from The Reader.
I'm Jim Deargatis from the Sun-Times.
Thanks a lot. We got the Flaming Lips with us here in the studio. So what we should probably do is explain why a band that most people have never heard of are here in the studio. Flaming Lips are stars in a certain section of the rock and roll community. A lot of people on mainstream radio have never heard of them.
Hello, everybody. I'm Wayne.
Direct from Oklahoma.
Well, not really.
Not really. You guys are in the midst of what, a 13-week tour with Candlebox?
A 13-year tour with Candlebox.
They were number 1 or number 2 on the sales charts every day when you come into work.
She Don't Use Jelly was, you know, it was a novelty alternative pop hit, and it kind of fit in.
Without the success of She Don't Use Jelly, would we even still be here?
There's a simple answer. Yes, I think you will always be here doing the Flaming Lips in one shape or form. We might not be on Warner Brothers if we didn't have the hit, but I still think there'd be a Flaming Lips and you'd be doing crazy, weird stuff.
By 1994, the grunge era was in full swing, and the Lips once again teamed up with friend and producer Dave Fridman to record Clouds Taste Metallic.
You want the drums in there? We find ourselves in Oklahoma City.
Whenever you're ready to go, I'm ready to go. Here it comes. Here we go.
Okay, what I got so far is I have a title, a working title called Psychiatric Exploration of the Fetus with Needles. Pretty scary. Goes like this. See, and it goes, because bugs are the only thing that really, in the end, you don't eat them, they just eat you, you know what I mean? And other animals, you always sort of feel like it's a trade-off, you know? Like, pigs will fuck you over, they eat your garbage and shit like that, but you eat a lot of them. And cats never really do kill dogs. See, we're sort of twisting it up there. So then it continues on. Belly of the heart, belly full of bats, the chromosomes seem not to want the fetus. And that's sort of hinting at that rejection of, like, the, you know, how the chromosomes seem to be the little smart guys that run around your body telling it sort of like, okay, now that you're 14, you got to get taller, or, you know, now that you're pregnant, you know, you got to start to eat weird food or something, you know. They seem to be the little things that are in charge once your body's just doing its stuff.
We've been in here for a couple of days.
finishing up some things that we need to finish up before we start recording new material. When we get the song remix, we'll have 8 songs complete, and sort of trying to wrap it up, you know. The creative juices have stopped flowing, and times are tough in that department, but we'll get it going.
The Lindsey Buckingham sound. Yes, it is.
This has been a commercial for Bayer Aspirin. Goodbye, everybody. Have a happy life. It looks like brighter days are ahead for the whole planet.
Due to Ronald's growing paranoia about Steven's drug problem, this would be his last record with the Flaming Lips.
When Ronald left the band, they really were faced with, you know, some challenges of how they were going to move forward. They thought, well, we're going to have to really think of a way to reinvent ourselves.
When Ronald split, I think that people thought, oh no, what are they going to do? And remember, just a couple of weeks after that happened, we were like, well, let's just start doing something else.
In 1996, the Lips assembled an audience of a few hundred cars in a cramped parking garage in Austin, Texas. Each car was given a pre-recorded cassette tape to be triggered at the same time, creating a spontaneous sonic orchestra.
Were you scared that first showdown in Austin last year?
You're fucking A, I was. What? Not as scared as I was when we did that parking lot experiment down there, though. Everybody turns their tape decks on at the same time, and whatever I put on the tapes comes out of it. Once we had got that parking lot full of a couple thousand people, it sort of seemed like, yeah, if I didn't deliver the goods and make something happen that, well, you know, hell, I thought someone might get run over.
This is called the parking lot experiment, which later evolved into the boombox experiment, and finally, the 4-CD set Zyreka.
This is the second test to see if
all the tape decks have been engaged properly.
1, 2, 3, go!
So what we've done is we've made 40 tapes that all sort of work on their own sort of logic. But what we do is we give everybody a tape and everybody a boombox. I mean, I say 1, 2, 3, go, and everybody starts them at the same time. And then everybody's turned down. And then at certain times we tell them to turn up and turn down. And what we've tried to do is sort of create this kind of sort of interactive tape deck concert performance.
That whole Zyreka period, I'll always remember getting off the phone with Scott and realizing that I had to go to the head of the company and say, we want to release, you know, a 4-CD box set where you have to play all the CDs at the same time.
I'm sure Scott thought Wayne was fucking crazy at first, and Wayne persuaded him as usual.
I remember him coming to me and talking about those things, and being like, well, why don't we do it with 10 CDs? And thinking that was a reasonable idea, you know? And I'd have to come in and be like, well, why don't we do it with 2? You know, and we kind of settled at 4.
And finally, he's like, look, we don't have to be friends. We don't have to like each other. We don't have to go home and go out for a beer at the end of the day. But we have to finish this record. We've got to figure out a way.
And his thing was, I'm not making music for now. I'm making music for 2 years from now. He's setting the pace for what's going to happen in the future.
1, 2, 3, 4.
When we started to do the last couple of records, we didn't really consider whether we could play it live or whether it could really ever be played again. We just sort of concentrated on doing the recordings and just really doing whatever we wanted to do to the songs in the recording process and sort of figure it out later.
Wow, boy, it'd be great to tour with a 80-piece orchestra, and then blam, technology catches up, and you have someone like Steven that can exploit the technology and the ideas.
Suddenly, everything has changed.
I think initially, we didn't even know if people would like it or accept it or if it was any good. You know, we played a couple of shows and people seemed to like it and it seemed to work. The idea that people believe in me really affected me. That after Ronald left the band and we started to do the parking lot things that led us to do Zarica, I really saw people around me and even our fans say, you know, we believe in you. I know you're doing these weird things, but we really believe in you. And it really affected me. And I thought, I'm going to prove to them that I'm worthy of their belief, you know?
Putting all the vegetables away that you bought.
No Flaming Lips records ever really sounded the same as the one beforehand. He's always progressing. He's always changing.
If there's a problem in rock today, it's that a lot of bands don't have the courage to try anything insane. And that has never been Wayne's problem.
I think their appeal is much greater now, this far into their career, 20 years on, because they've actually gotten better and they've become more interesting in what they do.
The Soft Bulletin is so refreshingly earnest and sincere.
I think it's such a groundbreaking, mesmerizing, beautiful, heartbreaking record.
Asked you a question. I didn't need you to reply. Is it getting heavy?
Wayne talks about things like death and life and happiness and true human experiences that I don't think a lot of bands touch upon. I think if you hear Waiting for a Superman or you hear Do You Realize or anything like that, these are songs that really touch the human existence and the human heart.
People who love ambitious rock music will be listening to the Lips for years and years and years to come.
I mean, I don't think anybody in Hollywood would let me make a movie. This way, we just don't bullshit anybody. We say, look, this is what we're going to try to do, but if we change our minds when we get there, who cares? Because it's only me and you that ever knew what we were going to do to begin with.
Pictures up. The oxygen is weak, and there aren't any fucking...
Wayne had always talked about making a movie, so I wasn't surprised when he asked me to help him make a science fiction story about a psychotic Santa Claus in outer space.
Hello. I'm Wayne's brother, Ken.
I play suicidal Santa Claus. Goes crazy, kills himself.
Wayne and I gathered a cast and crew of family members and friends, and in 2001, we began filming his unscripted movie called Christmas on Mars, starring the Flaming Lips.
My name is Steven Drozd. I'm a musician guy. I'm in a band called the Flaming Lips, but I'm also an actor, and I play the role of a Major Syrtis.
My character is the guy that's actually kind of put everything together, you know, the cast-off pieces of the spaceships to actually make it into a habitat.
My character is the benevolent sort of super being. Doesn't that sound like me?
I know that Wayne has horns. I know that Steven is sad. And I know that it's really strange.
I happen to own this outfit. And so it's just convenient, I guess. You know, he's like, oh, you look like kind of like a spaceman.
I'm related to Wayne because he's my uncle, of course. And I think I should be in his movie because, I mean, I'd make a perfect little Martian, of course. Because, I mean, you know, little green makeup all over my face. And then, you know, when you put helium in balloons and suck out the air, it makes it sound like, wee, wee, wee. And it kind of sounds like a Martian. And, I mean, helium really works. I was in one of his movies called Superman, and I played Superman, of course, and I made this blood go, like, right back into his head. So, well, I have a pretty good acting experience.
All right, well, here we are. This is the movie set where this is people say, hey, you're making a movie in your backyard. Well, it's not quite in my backyard. You can see it's on the back driveway. But this is these are my little, you know, Star Trek-esque kind of space doors, and we'll sort of take these wherever we go, and sometimes we'll just need a space door scene, and we'll do that, and of course we'll put a sound in there. It goes bzzzt, and that'll open up sort of magically. Well, this thing was underground at a gas station here in Oklahoma City, and it was full of gas, and they dug them up because, unfortunately, they're made out of fiberglass. But that's good for me because they've been sitting over in some field for 20 years, and I went over there and asked a guy if he'd be interested in helping me take it to my house because I'm making a movie. And instead of him laughing at me and saying, get out of here, crazy person, he said, oh, that sounds interesting. So he put it on the back of his truck one day, and he followed me over here. And here it sits, and I painted it all up, and I cut the ends out of it. And when you actually stand inside of it, it really does kind of feel like an expensive, well-made, you know, movie scene space station. And that'll be some kind of space device, you know, you put some lights in there or something. I haven't figured out yet how I'm going to get rid of it once the movie's made. All right, now, Dennis, can you hold the baby a little bit more up? Maybe see if you can come directly from the front. Damon, is that you doing that light? Yeah. This scene is supposed to represent the decay of Steven's character's mind. Steven has the Santa suit, and he's just walking with the alien. They're getting ready to go over and rehearse the big Christmas pageant. But on the way, his psychosis gets to another stage of severity. You know, everything's sort of decaying around him.
Steven with Martian, take 3. Action.
Something is weird in here.
It has been difficult to sort of get an idea of what the story is actually about. I think he approaches it like he makes a record or like he will do a painting or a drawing or a doodle or something. It's all in his head, and he just does it a little bit at a time.
There's this Martian traveling from some other dimension out there in time and space. And I don't know why, but he seems to be curious about this new life form, this baby that's being born on Mars.
I'm trying to make something that is that has some elements of absurdness about it, but it is real, it's drama and it's story-based. It's not just silliness.
I really don't think we have anything to worry about even at night, except our worst enemy is our own imagination. And since there's no lights around here and there are homeless people that come in here once in a while, it just scares the shit out of you once it gets too dark. You just always fear that some axe murderer has just escaped from jail and is coming down here to hide out and he's just gonna kill you. I'm building some fake walls for this scene, and I fear that I'm gonna have to make them taller than they are right now, because Bradley's about 14 feet away from where the walls are, and when he pans over to the shot, I think you're gonna see the very top of those walls, so I'm gonna add another layer to the top of that, and we'll see how it looks.
Not only are you getting your dialogue right before you're supposed to say it, so you're supposed to have this stuff memorized. And then once you get to the point where it's actually memorized, you're supposed to emote. You're supposed to have some emotional current that's supposed to go with the words. So when you're just getting this stuff right before you shoot it, it's tough. I'm guessing that if it seems like everyone thinks that my acting is good enough or interesting enough to carry it in some ways, I think he will write in maybe a little bit more of me trying to resolve things within my own mind. I don't know. This is just something I kind of thought of. But I think he was waiting to see if my acting was interesting enough to waste the time and the film and the actual movie time on me. I don't know.
I mean, we had to seriously wonder. Less than 4 months ago, it was like, let's say we shoot some of this movie and Steven dies. We thought about that, you know. Would we keep making the movie if he died? Would there even be a reason? And so, well, we're not really sure if our lead actor is really going to be alive, you know, for the filming. They'd say, well, why don't you get somebody else? I mean, it'd just be a smart move to get somebody else. And they would be right, you know. But in our case, it's sort of like, well, I just think it's more interesting that it's Steven because he's Steven and he is a great actor, and it's just a better story. And so, one way or the other, we'd have a great story. Even if he died, we'd have a story, and if he lives, we'll have a movie.
Go ahead, sir. You were gonna ask a question?
Oh, what was the very first time you did it?
Oh.
How did you get started?
Right.
Or what was it like, that
Right.
first experience?
Well, I'm sitting here speaking candidly with Brad because I trust him, and we've known each other for a long time, and he knows that, or I guess he hopes I'm not some total loser drug addict. He knows that I lead kind of a productive life. I mean, I'm a musician and all that, and I do stuff, but I've been addicted to heroin, I would say, a good 5 years now. You know, I probably had the same kind of drug experience as anybody did growing up. You know, you start drinking when you're 15 or something, got into speed like any white suburban punk would when they were 17, 18, took acid when I was 17, 18, got into ecstasy when I was 19, 20, and that was fun times, you know, 1988, 89, around that era. Very first time I ever did heroin was my 21st birthday. It did everything I expected it would, where I got obliterated. I threw up all night, and I couldn't keep my head up, and that was my first experience. But I must say I actually enjoyed it. I would say I first knew that I was addicted. I remember we went to Europe to tour with the Red Hot Chili Peppers. We were in London, and I got a bunch of it. I mean, a bunch. And did it heavily, several times a day, big doses for 2 weeks straight. And I ran out somewhere in Germany. I think it was Hamburg when I actually ran out. And that was the first time I knew I was addicted. That's when I realized, oh, this withdrawal thing they talk about, it's a real thing where, you know, obviously the physical stuff where you're throwing up and your bowels completely give out, just really gross stuff that no one would ever want to go through or would willingly go through unless they're a stupid drug addict. I think it was a little while before anybody knew, because I'd always done different types of drugs. And like I said, even before the heroin, you know, just more like a party scenario kind of thing, like, oh, we'd play in Chicago and I'd do a bunch of cocaine with some people after a show, you know, just party stuff. Or I'd take, on Lollapalooza, I took ecstasy a few times. I wouldn't say I've ever fucked anybody over directly, but a lot of things I've done have been questionable, and I think I would have never done them. And I shouldn't use drugs as an excuse, but I think I would have never done them had I not been addicted to drugs. But they've been really patient. I mean, I know, especially at this point now, that it's been about 5 or 6 years that I've been fucking with this stuff, and it's taken all my money, and, you know, I broke up my girlfriend, and just stupid things I don't think I would have done had I not been trapped in that sort of thing. But they've been really patient. I know at this point they're really starting to worry, like, is he ever gonna get out of this? Really didn't want people to know I was doing it for a long time. I tried to keep it as secret as I could. Even some of my good friends, I think it took them a long time to realize that, wow, this guy actually does have a problem. He's not just doing it for fun anymore. I'm out of money. I've got no car. Any instruments I use in the Flaming Lips, I just went ahead and sold to the band. But anything that was personally mine, it's gone. My car is in the pawn shop. All my stereo equipment is, you know, anything that was of any value is gone. Right now, as we speak, I'm sitting here going, well, I'm either gonna get out now or I'll be in jail soon. And I know people are worried that I'm gonna kill myself, or I'm trying to kill myself, or I'm gonna die, and I'm not trying to do that. And we're going to the studio in a few days, and I'll just go up there and kick it, which means do without, just go through the withdrawals up there like I've done 20 times before. And by the time I get home, hopefully I can try to fucking make some decision as to how to get out of it. Because I keep saying, oh, that's it, I'm done, and then I go back. But really, in my mind, it has gotten to the point where I'm not just saying that anymore, because I'm getting kind of scared that something bad is going to happen soon if I don't quit. You know, for years, I'd never had to search or anything, always had a good vein, but after doing this for so long, your veins just, they get sick of it, and they go underneath the skin. I guess they hide out, thinking that they don't want you to jab them again. Thought I heard a weird noise outside. What are you guys doing in there? Oh, you know, nothing. You know, Wayne, besides my drug addiction, I would say that he and I are about as best friends as you can get, because we work so closely together all the time, you know what I mean? Well, he hasn't actually tried to stop me. He's never even really threatened me in the way of quit or that's it. He worries, and he's acutely aware of what it's doing to me. I mean, he sees that it, you know, causes me to make dumb decisions. There you go, I just did it. I got a vein, it was in my hand. That's between you and me. And, you know, it comes on about 20 seconds and comes over your whole body, and your whole body just feels peachy fucking keen. And that's basically the gist of it. That's what I've given all my money and time to for the last 5 years. And I got a blood stain on my shirt. But, yeah, so it comes on, and basically you feel it in the stomach first, and kind of travels right through your whole body, and your body totally feels void of any pain whatsoever.
There were times I thought, oh, you know, people are using him because he can play no matter how high he is, and he can write music no matter how high he is, and it's always beautiful.
That's the thing about Steven that's different maybe than other people who are really, really gifted, is that he also has the gift of taste.
What do you think Wayne's biggest asset is?
Wayne's biggest asset? Steven.
My whole life, everybody I've been around, in a lot of ways, there's always been people who have drug problems. So none of that was new or bad or seemed like anything. But you just get so frustrated sometimes with, you just don't know what you're going to do, even though there's nothing that you can do.
Is that the spot?
We're trying to make this movie, we're trying to make a record, and Stephen had become just this raging heroin addict, and he knew it, and he knew he was out of control, and I knew it. But at the same time, you know, you sort of shake your head and you look at each other and you're like, well, you know, there's really not a whole lot anybody can do about it except you.
You just say, look, I know you're sick or whatever, but get up, we need this part done. He'd just get up, do the part, and then go back to bed. And that was just the way he lived, and none of us could figure out why he chose to live that way, but he did.
Before he became a heroin addict, he was younger. So it's kind of like he was in a fog for a couple of years. I could not even imagine Stephen dying. And so each time I talked to him, I would make sure that it was a good thing. And I couldn't imagine getting on the telephone with him and telling him that I couldn't talk to you. I can't talk to you anymore. And then possibly something happening to him.
Stephen doing drugs is really, it's none of my business. As long as it doesn't interfere with what we were doing, it didn't really matter to me. And I let that get the better of me because I would imagine he's doing these drugs, he could go to jail, he could kill himself, he's got all these people that care about him, and yet he seems to be going directly against what he knows to be our wishes.
There were times when I was really pissed off at Wayne because I thought that Wayne had something to do. It was when I was I wasn't around Stephen all the time, and I'd see Stephen and he looked so horrible. And he looked so, and I would get mad at Wayne for I look back on it now and I think that's just stupid. I was just trying to take it out on somebody else. And I thought Wayne should, you know, kick him out of the band.
Imagine that wonderful feeling you get from the Viking and multiply that times about 20 and you've got yourself a good shot of heroin. And imagine coming on 20
A few days after I filmed Stephen shooting up, he and Wayne left Oklahoma City to continue their sessions for what would later become Yoshimi Battles the Pink Robots.
Your whole situation where you're running out of money, you're afraid about going to jail, you're worried about your health and all that sort of junk. I think you were reaching some sort of point where you're either just gonna, you know, kill yourself and get it over with.
Frustrated and desperate to resolve Stephen's heroin addiction, Wayne gave Stephen several swift blows to the head.
About it, and I felt like, well, we better talk about something. And I hit him, and he apologized, and I hit him again, and it was an ugly scene. And it wasn't because I felt like if we have some confrontation that he'll realize that he should quit doing drugs.
That's one of the people you're really closest to and all that. Just like, you know, fuck, you know, everyone had just had enough. And that was, you know, I think the physical, actual.
Well, but I don't.
Takes it to kind of another level.
The fight acted as a wake-up call. Stephen decided to move away from his drug connections in Oklahoma, relocating to Fredonia, New York. With the support of Michael and Catherine Ivins and Dave and Mary Fridman, Stephen was free of heroin for the first time in 6 years.
You didn't really feel like he had time for you, and now when you're with him, you feel like he's happy to be seeing you and he's got time for you, and he's just that great guy that kept you from being so pissed off at him when he was on the dope. You know, in your mind, you're like, but this is that great guy that's so charming and so fun that we care about so much. So this is great to have that guy back.
They had me lay down in the middle of the highway pavement And Wayne was like, all right, now we're just going to pour this stuff on your head here. And he grabs this big bottle of red food colored dyed, like, I guess it was syrup or something like that. And so they pour the whole thing over my head and had me laying out on the highway. So here's, you know, I'm this 16-year-old kid, you know, with this looked like total bloody murder, you know, mess had happened.
I accidentally touched my head and noticed that I had been bleeding. For how long I didn't know.
I don't know, I think anybody who's ever seen Kiss, you know, realizes there's some instinctual reaction to seeing blood, even though you know it's fake. But I think on a guy wearing a suit like this, it just is a strange thing, you know, to see a guy, you know, with a gaping head wound. That really is my main job, is keeping my suits, my bloody suits, reasonably clean for the next day. Everybody who works with fake blood knows if you wash it in hot water, it sort of seals the blood to the fabric. We figured out that if you soak it for 3 or 4 hours, the blood will kind of just ooze out of the fabric. And we're gonna throw this in there, and like I said, with some cold water, we're just gonna let that sit in there. And then I'll wake up about 4 o'clock in the morning, and I'll wring it out and sort of hang it on the curtain there, and I'll, depending on the, you know, the configuration of the bathroom, I'll take the hairdryer and sort of either wrap it around something or duct tape it to a spot where it can kind of dry. But it goes back to, I saw an old black and white photo of Miles Davis. He was playing in New York City, and he'd gone outside to smoke a cigarette, and this was obviously back in the 60s with Miles Davis, and a cop had hit him on the head while he was out there, and it was sort of, you know, it was a big moment in the sort of, what does it mean to be black and to be a musician and all this sort of stuff. And he obviously had this wound, but luckily for the photographer, he was also wearing like a yellow suit, so you could see the blood. And I thought, wow, that's a powerful image of this sort of, you know, this musician who got hit on the head, you know. Watch it. This is the new pile. Do you have the new pile here?
Yeah, most of it.
I think this is a letter from a gal who heads up the Stephen Drozd Appreciation Society. One of these that I already read through is from a guy who calls himself L.A. Jesus. And he's taken to really being one of these guys who will travel around, and you will see him at you know, virtually every show in the Midwest.
I say that the Flaming Lips play to the best audiences that anybody could ever play for, right?
Race for the Prize is the most inspirational feeling I've ever felt in my life. And in listening to that song, I feel that in reality I can conquer any given task.
You stoked about tonight?
Fuck yeah, dude. It's the Flaming Lips, man. They're from OKC.
This is fucking Oklahoma pride, dog.
Two scientists are racing for the good of all mankind.
Always beautiful, always an experience, an adventure. It's the best show I've ever seen.
I like the whimsical nature of the Lips and how their music is experimental, but it's not completely of the head, it's also of the heart.
Oh man, I'm just gonna be hands up in the air. I'm gonna be so excited.
It's a life-changing, mind-altering, brain burner of an experience.
The whole time they've always been into putting on a show, and that's always been one of my favorite things about Wayne and the crew is that they seem to want to give every person, more than their money's worth every night.
Wayne's
That's
all
an
about the
important
show.
lesson.
I mean, at this point with it, it's like the music doesn't matter,
Yeah, it does. It does matter.
Well, no, they've already got it down.
The music's down. That's
The
easy to
music's
them.
down.
So
It's
everything
not even a
else.
problem.
Me and my sister got touched. It was like a religious experience.
It's kind of like how Kiss always said, we are you, you are we, but with the Flaming Lips, it's really true. And with Kiss, it's just like, well, they're really just a big bunch of fat liars. They can't sue me for saying that, can they?
They're ripped off so much. I mean, I hear Wayne's voice carried on through so many different kinds of bands nowadays. There's a sort of a style, a genre of people who sing like Wayne.
All right, so we're gonna put this up there. Oh, this is horrible.
Yeah, yeah.
Dolly, has Wayne always been such a hard worker like he is now?
Yes, yes, he has.
How so?
Yes, he has. Well, he just worked all the time. He worked at Long John Silver's and come home and practiced, and he was always on the go with something.
He is easily the hardest working person I've ever met in my entire life.
But he'll trick you like that too. He'll make you think that you're going out to eat, or come over for some coffee. Next thing you know, you're in the back in the room recording something, working on one of his ideas or something, which is fine.
He's not one of those performers either that will get there and just let the crew take care of everything. He wants to check the projector himself. He wants to be sure that everything's going to work.
He'll be there, moving stuff around in between bands, or he'll be backstage taping things up, or he's always doing something.
You hear guys talk about the do-it-yourself, ethic or whatever, but they're not really doing it themselves. They've got guitar roadies and they've got people that, pick up there and haul their gear for them.
He's up before you are, and he goes to bed hours after you do, and he's kind of an unstoppable force.
He's tough sometimes, but, he's never tough just to be tough. He's always tough because he's trying to get more out of you.
So when I show up, and people say, gosh, you've been working hard all day. I said, of course, that's what I do. I mean, I wouldn't, if I wasn't going to be here working and proving myself, I'd just stay home. The reason I think that we've been able to do all these things with as much charm and as much determination has partly been because Steven stopped doing drugs, in a way. To be able to do a schedule like this a couple of years ago would have been, it would have been hazardous. You just can't run and do as many things.
It's hard to make the good things last. You realize the sun doesn't go down. It's just an illusion caused by the way
for a few years, it was just impossible to get him to do anything that wasn't band oriented. You know, he would feel uncomfortable. He would feel like he should be doing something else. He should be working on something. He has this work ethic that is his greatest asset and also his demon to battle sometimes.
We got that from our dad. You know, our dad would never quit.
His dad always worked hard, always. If he wasn't physically working hard, he felt like he wasn't accomplishing something.
Oh, yeah, I mean, he definitely had a determination. He loved it so much that he would make something that was actually very easy, hard.
Hard, yes.
Just so he could work hard. So we all sort of figured that for better or for worse, the old man would probably die on the job, you know, either loading a truck when he's 95 years old and he'd either get a heart attack or we'd find him just dead under some desk that he was trying to fix the credenza under or something like that. So when he kind of got ill at the end of '96 and then really just, you know, withered away, I guess it took about 5 months or something like that. You really are kind of shocked into this, wow, you know, you do see how this is just a man, he gets sick, and then he dies, and it's just, there's really not a whole lot of philosophical of clouds you can sort of puff up around it. It's really pretty harsh.
I think he's easier with leisure time now than he used to be. I think when his dad got sick, I think he decided then that, you know, geez, there's more to life than just working, you know. Even if you love your work, there's other parts of your life that you got to nurture and enjoy.
But nothing teaches you about death like experiencing it within that close proximity. I mean, even if your next door neighbor gets burned up in a fire, it's not the same as someone of your own flesh and blood and watching their demise, watching it happen right in front of you. And you can't turn away and you can't walk away because it's going on for so long that it can't help but to change you. I think in a way it's made me more serious about getting the most out of life instead of seeing it as, oh, saying these things to these people today, maybe it doesn't matter, maybe I'll say it tomorrow, or maybe I'll say it next week. When there's things that I want to say to people or things that I want to do or things that I feel like need to be expressed or whatever, I just go and do it because I don't know if I'll have how many days any of us have left or any of that. You sort of see how all this is kind of temporary.
Last night I had a horrible dream, but the dogs barking in the morning came and honored to be with me, are you? Chased it all away. Last night I had a horrible dream, but the sunrise in the morning came and burned it all away.
Okay, so that was swell stuff, like we said it was. Next up on the agenda is a little bit of live footage from Oklahoma's own Flaming Lips, probably the best known export from this area of the country since oil or something.
Someday up there.
Well, all you Sooners and Boz, or something repulsive like that.
A horrible dream, but your smile in the morning came and took it all away. It's taking it away. You can see it going. Ba-da-bum, ba-da-bum.
I'm my favorite. I thought I was me. I thought you were me till I realized that I'm me.
Okay, so sum up,
Michael's like, oh, man.
Richard, what's the song that would best sum up Richard's style of drumming to you, anyway?
Everything's exploding, I
Everything?
would say, because it's just like, he's,
Right.
My favorite though is 1 million billionth of a millisecond on a Sunday morning.
There you go.